everybody, welcome to your second week of yoga here. I had hoped that we could do it again outside, but given the new system, I've used up my outside time already for going for a run this morning, and it seemed a little bit windy anyway on the beach last week. So hopefully, here in my makeshift yoga studio, you can hear me a little bit more clearly, and the waves don't get in the way so much. So I hope you're all doing okay, keeping as busy and as active as you can be at the moment. So for the next half an hour, 40 minutes, let's just find a little bit of space, a little bit of peace. See if you can find somewhere inside that is calm, that you can be undisturbed, and just give yourself that time to find some space for your mind and for your body this week. With everything else that's going on, I think really important still to connect as much as you can with yourself, as well as with others around you as best you can. So find yourself a nice quiet space, take a nice comfortable cross-legged position, move the flesh of the buttocks out to the side, and just taking the palms, the hands into the lap. Just gently take a few moments here. So close down the eyes if that's comfortable, or keep the gaze soft just in front of you, and just take a moment here to feel the breath moving in and out of the body. Breathing in and out through the nose. Feeling the lower part of the belly expanding as you breathe in, and contracting as you breathe out. Keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed, down away from the ears. Keeping the spine and the back of the neck long, imagining somebody's pulling you up to the ceiling with an invisible piece of string. We'll start today by taking in a pranayama breathing practice to calm the mind, balance our energies. And so we'll start with alternate nostril breathing. So take a look and take your hand into this mudra with your second and third finger touching down on the base of the thumb. I'm going to take the thumb to cover our right nostril. You can have the eyes open if that's helpful to see, or close down the eyes, and I'll count you in together. So we'll cover the right nostril with the thumb. Take a big inhalation through the left nostril. When you get to the top, cover the left nostril with the ring finger and exhale through the right. Inhale again through the right. Cover the right nostril with the thumb and exhale through the left. So that's one round. Let's take it again together. Inhale through the left. Change and exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Change, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Change, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Change, exhale through the left. One more round. Inhale through the left. Change, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Exhale through the left. Taking that hand now back into the lap and taking just another couple of breaths here. Gently in and out through the nose. And one more. In through the nose. And out through the nose. Let's take a cleansing breath here. So we'll breathe again in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Opening the eyes if they're closed. We're going to roll over our knees, coming down into child's pose. So taking the feet together, the knees wide. Just going to slowly start to come forward. So gazing up initially beyond the front of the mat, keeping the fingers spread wide, even coming up onto the fingertips. Gazing forwards and inching the hands forwards. Finally taking the hands down, spreading the fingers wide. And then resting the forehead down on the mat. Breathing deep into this posture here. And this here is your resting posture. If you ever need to take any rest during any part of the session, come down to rest here. Sinking the hips back down to the heels, reaching and stretching forwards with the fingertips, and then lifting the hips, tucking the toes, planting the hands and lifting up into your downward facing dog. Maybe pedaling out the feet here, left to right, spreading the fingers nice and wide, rotating the shoulders down away from the ears, just really finding that length here down the backs of the legs, and then finding stillness. So gazing down towards the navel, allowing the back of the neck to be long, allowing the breath to be nice and steady here. And then slowly walking the feet up to the top of the mat. Coming into our forward fold. So feet are together. Hands can either be holding onto opposite elbows with a slight bend in the knees, or taking the hands down to the mat, either side of the feet, allowing the back of the neck to be long. Good, and then slowly rolling up through the spine, vertebra by vertebra, head coming up last, coming to stand into Tadasana. So standing with the feet together, the heels slightly apart, so you've got straight lines down the outer sides of the feet, rolling the shoulders away from the ears, gazing forwards, lifting up the toes so you can spread each toe and place it down on the mat, tucking the tailbone slightly, just finding stillness here for a moment. Good, and then coming into our sun salutation, so just warming the body up here. We're going to inhale, bring the arms up, gazing up, and then exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, fingertips to the ground or resting on the shins. We're going to bend the knees, step the right, step the left foot back, coming up into our high plank. From here we're going to drop the knees, drop the chest, coming through into our cobra. So taking a moment here, zipping the legs up, taking the hands up, so we're using the back muscles to come up here, and then tucking the chin down, pressing back through your child's pose, and then up into our downward facing dog. Breathing here for 1, 2, really grounding down through the hands, rolling the shoulders away from the ears. 3, 4, legs are strong, kneecaps pulling up to the thighs. And 5, bending the knees, stepping, one foot stepping, the other foot back to the front of the mat, gazing forwards, fingertips on the ground or hands on the shins. Exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, arms coming up above the head. Exhaling, hands in front of the chest. Okay, speeding it up slightly this time. Inhaling, arms coming up. Exhaling, hands coming down. Inhaling, fingertips on the ground or on the shins. Exhaling, plant the hands, stepping back with the feet. Coming down through our knees, bringing the chest and chin down to the ground. Coming up into our cobra. Tucking the chin, planting the hands, sinking the hips back to our child's pose and then up into our downward facing dog. Holding here, tucking the chin down to gaze towards the navel, sinking the hips up and back for 2, 3, rolling the shoulders away from the ears. 3, 4, and 5, bending the knees, stepping to the front of the mat, fingertips on the ground or on the shins. Exhaling, looking forwards. Inhaling, arms coming up above the head. Exhaling, hands in front of the chest. So this round will introduce our option to jump back and come down through our chaturanga. So take that if you would prefer, or coming through as the previous time. So inhaling, taking the arms up. Exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, fingertips on the ground, looking forwards. Exhaling, plant the hands and stepping or jumping back to plank, dropping this time our elbows close to the body, coming through chaturanga. Inhaling to come up into upward facing dog. So we're on the tops of our feet here, gazing up, shoulders down, away from the ears, thighs are lifted, either coming here or staying as before in cobra. Then tucking the toes, sinking the hips back, coming into our downward facing dog. Holding here for 1, 2, allowing the breath to come back nice and steady. 3, 4, and 5, bending the knees, stepping or jumping to the front of the mat, fingertips on the ground, looking forward. Exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, arms coming up. Exhaling, hands in front of the chest. Okay, so this time we'll take our sun salutation B. So this time we'll bend the knees as we raise up into our chair. So tucking the tailbone, gazing up towards the thumbs. Exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, fingertips on the ground, looking forward, bending the knees, stepping or jumping back to plank. Coming either through knees, chest, chin or chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. This time our left foot turns in slightly as our right foot steps to the front of the mat, coming up into our warrior 1. So here our hips are facing the short edge of the mat. Our left leg is strong. Our right knee is bent. Arms are up, gazing to the thumbs. Exhaling, folding forward. Stepping back to plank. Dropping, knees, chest, chin or chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. The other side, our right foot turns in, left foot steps forward, arms coming up, warrior 1. Exhaling, Hands coming down outside that front foot, stepping back to plank, dropping through chaturanga or cobra, upward facing dog, turning the toes, downward facing dog, holding here now for 1, 2, drawing the kneecaps up to the thighs, 3, 4, and 5. Bending the knees, stepping or jumping to the front of the mat. Fingertips on the ground, looking forward, exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, bending the knees, arms coming up through chair. Exhaling, hands in front of the chest. Okay, taking that once more. Bending the knees, arms coming up through chair, gazing to the thumbs. Exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, fingertips on the ground, looking forwards. Exhaling, plant the hands, step or jump back. Dropping through chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. Turning the toes, sinking the hips back into your downward facing dog. Left toe turns in, right foot steps forward, arms coming up into our warrior 1. Exhaling, hands coming down outside that front foot, stepping back to plank, dropping knees, chest, chin or chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Let's take that on the other side. So right toes turn in, left foot steps forward, arms coming up, warrior 1. Exhaling, hands coming down outside that front foot, stepping back to plank, dropping through chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog, holding here, allowing the breath to come back to its natural state. For 2, kneecaps are drawing up to the thighs, legs are strong. 3, rolling the shoulders away from the ears. 4, and 5, bending the knees, stepping or jumping to the front of the mat, fingertips on the ground, looking forward, exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, bending the knees, coming up through chair, exhaling, hands in front of the chest. Let's take a moment just resting now, down in child's pose, so taking the feet and the knees together. We're going to take the head down onto the mat and just rest here. So the hands coming to the sides of the legs, forehead coming down. Just take a moment to allow the breath. Allow the breath to settle here. Good, and then coming back up onto all fours, tucking the toes, lifting the hips, coming back up into our downward facing dog. So from here we're going to come into flip dog. So be aware of how much space you have and just move yourself accordingly if you can. So we're going to take the right leg up to the sky, coming into our 3-legged dog. We're going to bend that knee of that right foot and take the right hip to stack the right hip on top of the left. We're going to allow gravity to do the work here. We're going to take that right foot down to the floor and take the right hand up to the sky, taking the gaze beyond those right middle fingers, drawing the hips up to the sky for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Taking the right hand back down, coming back through our 3-legged dog, and then planting the right foot down to meet the left. Coming now onto the other side. So taking the left foot up to the sky, bending the left knee and drawing the knee to the sky as that heel comes down towards the left glute. Opening the hips and then taking the left hip down, the left foot down to the ground, taking the left hand up to the sky, taking the gaze beyond the left middle fingers for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Coming back down through our 3-legged dog, taking the left foot down to meet the right, coming back down into our downward facing dog. From here, let's take the right leg high once again and step it between the hands. We're going to take the arms up to the sky, coming into our crescent lunge. So taking the gaze up to the thumbs, we're on the toes, we're on the ball of the back foot. The right knee is bent, taking the gaze up to the sky. I'm going to come into a twist here. So I'll turn around so you can see where we are. So taking the hands up, taking the hands down to the chest. We're going to bring that left elbow over the right knee and gaze to the right, turning our chest open to the right. So that left leg is really strong, up on the ball of that left foot. And breathing here for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, coming back up with the arms. Exhaling, drawing the hands down to the mat, stepping the right foot back to meet the left. Coming into that on the other side. So left leg comes up high, stepping between the hands, drawing the arms up to the sky, and then bringing the hands in towards the chest. Taking a twist to the left this time, so bringing the right elbow over the left knee, taking the gaze beyond that left elbow. For 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, coming back to the center, exhaling, taking the hands down outside that front foot, stepping back to downward facing dog. Taking a moment here, resting down again in child's pose, taking the knees together, feet together, drawing the head down and taking rest here for a moment. Inhaling, coming back up now into your tabletop. Once again, tucking the toes, sinking the hips back once again. into your downward facing dog. You can take the right leg high once again and step it between the hands, this time coming down onto the outside blade of that left foot. Taking the arms out to the side, transitioning through our warrior two to then drop the right elbow onto the right knee and taking that left arm up to the sky, taking the gaze underneath that left armpit. Either staying here, or if you're used to taking a bind here, you can thread that right arm underneath the thigh, taking the gaze again up to the sky, keeping that left leg really strong. For 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, unbinding if you've bound, coming back to our warrior two, and then straightening that front leg, coming now into our triangle pose. So taking with both legs straight, the gaze over that front hand, leaning the body forwards over that front hand, and then dropping the right hand to the inside of that right leg, taking the gaze up towards that left hand, maybe taking a half bind here, so wrapping that left hand around the right inside thigh, and breathing here for 3, 4, keeping both legs really strong, and 5, unbinding, inhaling, coming up, and then pivoting on the feet to come down onto the left side. So coming through our warrior two on the left, first into our extended side angle. So taking that left elbow to the left knee, inhaling, taking the top arm up, or if you're familiar here and want to take that bind, if you took it on the other side, keeping that right leg really strong, opening the chest, and taking the gaze up for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, coming up, and then straightening that front leg, taking our triangle pose. So with both legs straight, taking the gaze over that front hand, extending the body, and then dropping the hand down to the inside of that left leg, taking the right hand up to the sky, and breathing here, drawing both kneecaps up to the thighs for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, coming back, stepping off with the left foot. So we're now in a wide-legged position with the feet just slightly turned into the center. We're going to tuck the tailbone down, take the hands to the hips. We're going to come into our wide-legged forward fold. So drawing the shoulders away from the ears. We're going to inhale, take the gaze up slightly, and then exhale, folding forwards. So taking the hands down to wherever they go, whether they stay on the shins or coming down to the mat, looking for one line between both feet and both hands. Inhaling, gazing forward slightly, and then exhaling, starting to fold for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, looking forwards, flattening the back. Exhaling here, then taking the hands to the hips, and inhaling, coming all the way up, stepping off to the front of the mat. So from here, staying at the top of your mat, I'll just come to the center so you can see. We're going to come into our chair pose. So chair pose with a twist. So we're going to bend the knees, inhale, taking the arms up to the sky, and then drawing the hands to the center. We're going to take the left elbow to the outside of the right knee as we open the chest to the right, taking the gaze over that right elbow. Just watching the knee here, that left knee tends to shoot forward, so just drawing that left knee back so both knees are in one line. For 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, coming up to center and coming straight onto the other side. Right knee to the outside of the left, right elbow to the outside of the left knee, taking the chest over to the left. For 1, 2, sinking the hips down. 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, coming up to the center, drawing the arms back up to the sky, and then exhaling, folding forwards. Coming back to the front of the mat, folding forward, allowing the head just to hang heavy, maybe taking a slight bend in the knees, taking hold of opposite elbows and just rocking gently from side to side. We're going to slowly uncurl the spine, coming all the way back to standing. Inhaling, taking the arms up, exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, fingertips on the ground, looking forward, bending the knees, planting the hands, stepping or jumping back to plank. From here, we're going to lower down onto our bellies, either coming straight down or coming with me for a count of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Resting on our bellies, making a pillow for the head, and just taking the left cheek down onto the hands for a moment. I'm going to take the hands now down to the side of the body, preparing for a Shalabhasana. So starting with the forehead down on the ground, we're going to inhale and lift everything up. For 1, 2, legs are strong, arms are strong. 3, 4, and 5. Exhale, release. Make a pillow for the hands and take the right cheek down to the mat. Let it all go. This time we're going to take the hands either side of the chest. We're going to start with the forehead down on the ground, and then we're going to lift up, keeping a slight bend in the elbows, disengaging the glutes. So the glutes are soft, legs are soft. Be a slight gap in the legs, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. For 3, 4, and 5. Exhale, release. Take the palms down, turn the head to look to the right, and release. I'm going to come up now into our floor bow. So bending the knees, taking hold of the feet with the hands, and then we're going to inhale and bring everything up, resting on the lower parts of our belly. So inhale, lifting up. For 1, gaze up, kicking into the hands. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Releasing down, taking the hands onto the mat, gazing to the left. and releasing. Okay, from here, we're going to take the hands either side of the chest, sink the hips back into our child's pose, taking just a moment here, hands coming either side of the legs, and then coming up into our tabletop position, tucking the toes, lifting the hips, coming through our downward facing dog, and then stepping or jumping the feet between the hands to roll over onto our sit bones, coming just into an easy forward fold, so allowing the back to round slightly, not holding onto the feet, just taking the hands either side of the shins, allowing the body to completely release here. Good. And then slowly coming up, taking a couple of twists now just to counter the back bending postures. So we're going to start by taking our, come round the opposite side. So taking the left leg straight, taking the right knee bent towards you, taking the right hand behind the right hip, inhaling, coming up with that left hand, left toes are curling in towards you, and taking the hand over the hip, taking the gaze over to the right. You can even take that foot over the leg, taking the gaze behind you, releasing the lower back. For 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, coming back to the center, bending the left foot now, either keeping the foot to the inside of the knee or taking it over the top. Inhaling, coming up with that right hand, and then twisting to the left, taking the gaze over that left shoulder, keeping that right leg engaged. For 1, 2, keeping the back nice and straight. 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, coming back to the center, coming now down onto our backs, taking a few final poses here just to release and unwind. So starting with our happy baby, so taking the hands, the inside of the legs, holding on to the outer blades of the feet. The hips are drawing down, the lower back is pressing into the ground, the knees are coming down to the ground. You can close your eyes here or keep them open. Just allowing the breath to come back down, breathing in and out through the nose. Either finding stillness here or gently moving from side to side, just massaging out the kidneys and the lower back, releasing any toxins that might be building up there. And then finding that stillness, allowing the inside of the thighs, the inside groin to release. And then drawing the feet together, holding onto the knees, massaging the lower back again into the ground, and then taking the left leg out in front of you, holding onto the right knee, drawing the right knee close into that right armpit. Going to come into our easy spinal twist here, so taking hold of the right knee with the left hand, taking the right hand out to the side, taking the gaze over that right hand. I'm going to tuck the right toes underneath that left thigh, and then take the knee across the left, taking the gaze over that right hand, keeping sure that right shoulder is planted firmly onto the ground. Maybe again closing down the eyes here, allowing the breathing to reset. And then coming back to the center, taking that knee in towards the chest, taking that right leg out long in front of you, taking the left knee now in towards the chest, taking hold of the left knee with the right hand, taking the left hand out to the side. If you haven't got too much space to stretch the arms out here, you can bend the arm like a cactus, so bending at the elbow and taking the hand up to the sky, so tucking the toes, taking the knee over the side, taking the gaze over that left hand, making sure the shoulder doesn't release. If it does, just ease off slightly with that knee. And then inhaling, coming back to the center, drawing that knee in and then straightening the legs. So taking a moment here just to check in with the body, taking any final movements that your body might want to take before coming into our Shavasana. So maybe if it's chilly in the room, taking a blanket or taking a jumper, taking some socks, whatever you need, tucking the tailbone under, allowing the feet to splay out to the sides, drawing the shoulders down the spine, the hands moving out to the sides of the body, palms facing up, fingers gently curling in to the palms, and just breathing here, letting go of any tension, letting go of any feelings of stress or strain in the body. Just staying here all together for a couple of minutes. If you want to stay for longer, that's absolutely fine. You can always pause the video and pick it back up later. Otherwise, all staying here for the next few moments before closing together. So just taking a moment to check in with the body. Recognizing any areas of the body that feel particularly tense or tight or feel like they've worked. Breathing into those areas. Directing the blood flow, that fresh blood and energy into those areas. Allowing them to appreciate what you've done for them, but also now just release. When you're ready, just wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, starting to bring a bit of life back into the body. Maybe stretching the hands up, stretching through the fingertips, pressing the lower back down into the body, down to the mat. And then slowly in your own time, taking as long as you need here, taking the knees, drawing the knees in towards the chest. And then slowly, in your own time, rolling over onto your right side. Taking a couple of breaths here. And when you're ready, slowly using that left hand to come up all the way to seated. Again, moving the flesh of the buttocks out to the side. Taking the hands down into the lap and just allowing yourself some time to check in, to recognize how your body's feeling. Taking note of if you're feeling any different to how you felt when you started. And just thanking yourself for giving yourself that time away from the chaos of life at the moment. Remembering to find this space, this time, whenever you feel you need it. So when you're ready, taking the hands together in front of the heart center, rubbing the hands together, generating some heat in the hands, taking the hands over the top of the eyes, feeling the darkness and opening the eyes behind the hands, taking the hands back down. Namaste everybody, thank you. See you hopefully next week.